Hey everybody, welcome back to a special presentation of the Coaches Show. We're coming back to you live Wednesday. We're not live, we're recorded, but it sounds great, doesn't it? And with me, David Schuster, your head coach of the Mission Prep Royals. Another regular season in the books, coach. Before we break it down, can I get your thoughts on how this season was?
I mean, the regular season was, tougher than most other years we've had. A couple of reasons for that. We had a couple of key injuries right at the start of the year that really altered the roster, and kind of put us in a tight spot right from the get-go. And then we've played a very hard schedule. Santa Fe Christian. I mean they rolled out with one of the best teams in school history, and they've been just decimating everybody they've been playing this year, and they kind of started it off with us, and then it's just been systematically throughout the year. Kids are battling, kids are fighting, and we've been kind of fighting uphill all year. So I will say the last couple of weeks, I felt like the season really took a change in the positive direction for us in the third quarter against Lompoc, when we kind of went and played smash mouth football a little bit and had a great drive. And since then, it's been great practices, great weeks of practice, good energy on the team, good focus on all the right details. And we've just been systematically getting better. And even the AG game, which we purposely pulled a bunch of kids out of that game early. AG chose not to, so be it. And they made their point. Uh, but we just, even in those things, the kids still executed pretty well. It wasn't perfect, but we really have just felt like we're getting better, and we're progressing, and we're progressing at the right time. And so I'm thankful and happy for that.
This team definitely took its lumps this season. This team finished fourth in the Mountain League. It's the worst finish in your tenure at Mission Prep, Coach, and the lowest playoff placement being placed in Division 4 since playing in Division 6 in 2019 when you started the division season in Division 6. And then it's your first time on the road in the playoffs since 2021 when you were on the road at Lemoore and picked up that win in Lemoore. Coach, it's been a hectic year, but you're moving on into familiar grounds, per se, with your next opponent. And let's talk about head coach of Immanuel, Josh Henderson, and your history with him. There's a lot people don't know here, including myself, and I've been learning a lot that you started your coaching career under Henderson in 2010, back at Grace Brethren. Can you catch us up to speed from 2010 to present day?
Yeah. Um, the there's a lot of history there. I'll just say that Josh has had a substantial role in my life, continues to have a huge role in my life. Uh, I'm daily thankful for his mentorship, his friendship, and the connection that he and I have been able to build over the years. Um, I joined the staff in 2010, right when he took over at Grace Brethren. He came from well, it's now Heritage Christian, but it used to be LA Baptist, there in Northridge and San Fernando. He was there for a year and left and came to Grace. And before that, he was at Aquinas in San Bernardino, kind of built that up, and played high school at Fontana High School and under Dick Brook, and that whole legendary program back in the 80s, and 90s and stuff. And so that's kind of the pipeline there, and how he got to Grace. And I was deployed in Afghanistan, and I had a couple of people who I was connected with at Grace Church who kind of vouched for me, knew I wanted to coach eventually one day. And so they reached out to Josh and said, "There's a dude who's in Afghanistan, but he might be great for your staff. And so Josh hired me technically when I was still in Afghanistan, and um, came back off the deployment, and won't get too much into the detail, but he created a pathway for me to be able to leave base early, get deactivated, get out of the Marine Corps, and start coaching. And so, a little complicated. I won't waste people's time with it, but he kind of opened up that pathway, and so then I started coaching for him, and I was an active part of his staff from the get go. Um, and Josh took an intense mentorship approach from the get go. Um, and I've been just extremely thankful for that. And so I got a chance to do a lot of different things at Grace, um, and that role, the things he made me do, the things he's made me learn and grow in. I got to watch the template from day one. I was the third coach he hired when he took over at Grace, and so I just kind of got to see it up close and personal. How do you make it? How do you run a successful small school football program, especially when you're competing against really, really big schools with big competition in the area? How do you do it? How do you make it successful? And then I got to see the business of schools as well too. So, and a lot of very, very powerful information that I got, and we've essentially tried to follow the same model here. And so, not every year is great. Like you said there, it's been a rougher year. Still a lot of great things going on. Still the same program, and we had some rough years at Grace. Josh had some rough years at Aquinas. That's the nature of small schools. I wish we could sit there and go like, yeah, every year we're 10-0, but the reality, especially with this new playoff system, that thing is going to elevate, and the more success you have, the higher you're going, and the more intense that competition is. So the body difference really, really stands out. So that's kind of what we're running into, and I've been thankful for, even in a hard year, Josh has been in my corner. Um, he's been he's been an active encourager. He and I have been talking, continue to talk weekly. And so to be in a position where we're matched up against each other now, um, he means a great deal to me personally. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. The whole staff over there, a lot of the staff, we're really tight. We do everything together. We scrimmage together. We, do a lot of summer events together as two programs. They really are our brother program. We run all the same plays, do all the same stuff. Um, and it's going to be a lot of fun until the fourth quarter, and then reality is going to set in that someone's going to have to lose, and that's going to suck. Personally for me, it's going to be, um, it's kind of been, personally my worst nightmare a little bit of having to go up against Josh. I just don't. It's a relationship I value greatly, and so competitively we want to win, we want to get after it, and we're going to leave everything on the table trying to win that game. But at some point someone's going to lose, and that moment's going to suck. And so but love them dearly, thankful for them, and in a weird way I am excited to compete against them too. So
Coach, I think this the word you're looking for, it's going to be bittersweet no matter the outcome,
yeah, there you go.
because it's going to be bitter but sweet, because you're going to go up against somebody you really love, and you don't want to see them, you don't want to lose, and you don't want to see them lose.
Right.
So it's going to be, yeah, you get it. But let's move on. I think there's you feel like there's a heavy weight on your shoulders, but I feel like there's light here, because you've struggled against teams that play a double. I'm sorry, coach, I'm losing my words here, but a run pass offense. They have a really great run game. They have a really great pass game, and at some point your team begins to struggle with that because they can't contain both. That seems to be the struggle this year. Now, Emmanuel, they're only a run team. They're primarily a run team, heavy run team, over 2,000 yards on the ground. How does that benefit your team, coach, knowing that you're not going to have to look for that deep ball very often because they're going to be putting the rock on the ground?
Well, uh, we've lost a couple of those games. I know what you're saying. I would say we've lost a couple of those games in a couple of cases where we just didn't have the athletes to match up. And El Medina is a great example of that, where the kids are playing really, really great football. They're playing really tough, really hard. We just don't have bodies that in a couple of those games that can consistently just keep up with what's going on, whether it's running or passing. And I guess the concern with Emmanuel is, yeah, they are primarily running the football, but um, I I know going up against it, I know coaching it, I know what it looks like. We've had years too, a lot of years, most of our years where we run the ball primarily, and it doesn't matter. No one can stop it, and that's the point. And that actually, if you can't stop it early, it is way more demoralizing than being in a situation where it's like, well, okay, they're passing or running. It's like if you know it's coming and you can't stop it, and they're breaking your face, like the team falls apart. And it's why we do it. And he's better at it than anybody. And so um, it is more concerning to me because um, than to face a team doing a little bit of both, because it's kind of like um, man, like if we do not stop this, the game's over. Like there's just no way. They're going to grind everybody to death. And he's better at it than anybody. He's always got several wrinkles in every game. He's got new formations, new looks, new aspects of getting the edge and attacking up in the middle. And he's extremely creative. And the other problem too is he can see the field faster than anybody I've ever been around. That includes some NFL guys. And so where he's able to look, he understands exactly what's taking place. He's been around, he's been a head coach for 27 years, 25 years, whatever it is. He's got over 200 wins in his career. Uh, he's been doing it for quite a while. And he's seen everything anyone can do against him. And he's got an answer for all of it almost instantaneously. And so uh, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be fun because there are some things I do know that most people don't when it comes to attacking him, and I'm excited to test that theory out and see what it looks like. Um, but he's still Coach Henderson, and there's nobody better. So
And a few facts about Coach Henderson this season. They finished second in the Tri-County Sequoia League. They pitched six shutouts this season, and they opened the season with a seven-game winning streak. And Coach, you guys had two common opponents this season, excuse me, Kern Valley, the Bronx, and then Central Valley Christian, both teams going 1-1 against those opponents, both losing to the Cavaliers while picking up wins over the Bronx. Uh, you both pitched out shutouts to the Bronx while, dropping to the Cavaliers. Talk about the comparison there. Is there a comparison there?
well, the Kern Valley, not really. It's both in both cases the game was over very quickly. We both kind of did the same thing to them. So trying to match up bodies is, it's irrelevant anyway because we've been around each other so much, and the kids legitimately enjoy talking to each other. They're good friends with each other. Actually, in some cases, we scrimmage with them. So the kids know what the bodies look like and what it feels like, and what they can do, and they know what we can and can't do. Um, that's been more relevant than anything else. So any matchups with CVC, and those are just like, well, CVC chose to attack Emmanuel a little bit differently than how they attacked us, and it worked out, very much in CVC's favor. And Emmanuel had two drives that really burned up a lot of clock, and then CVC by the end of the game just chose to burn clock too. But there's a couple of situations there where I think if CVC wanted to, they could have thrown it and attacked them in different ways, and the way they did with us. Um, and so they're not as comparable. It's the scrimmage. Um, scrimmage has a lot more where everyone just knows the bodies, and they know what it felt like going up against each other, and what we were doing a little bit. So, obviously that was a long time ago, but for the kids and understanding like, how big are they actually? Like, well, they already know them, so you know.
And then my final note here before I let you depart, Coach, for today's activities is that Mission Prep holds a one game series lead over Immanuel, playing back in the day, back on October 11th, 2013, picking up the 35-7 win at Mission College Prep. So you got a little notch under your belt going into this game that the Royals have a one game winning streak over Emmanuel. So I'm trying to give you some hope, Coach.
Oh no, there's a lot to be excited about in the
Yes.
game. There's a very clear pathway to victory. We got to execute. You know, I don't want to make this sound like this is the end of the road. This is exciting for us. I think the kids feel excited. We're motivated. It's playoffs. It's nothing better. It's a beautiful facility. We're competing against friends. Um, there really is just so much to be excited for, and there's some things that we know we can take advantage of that they're going to struggle with, and likewise they know there's a couple things they can do to us that we're going to struggle with. It really is going to come down to who's executing and who can make just enough plays there, especially in the third and fourth quarter. So, yeah, there's a clear pathway to victory, and it'll be great. It'll be really, really very physical football, and it'll be. I guess the way Coach Henderson and we talked on Monday, and the way we just kind of felt about it was, you know what? Let's make this thing great. Let's make it as spectacular as possible. And both programs go out essentially with a bang. It's like, well, one of us has to lose. Well, let's make this thing spectacular in every way. So that's kind of how we've approached it. I know they are too, and it's going to be awesome on Friday night.
It's going to be awesome. And that broadcast is going to be live on the NFHS network in partnership with PSNtv. Stephen Hodges and I will be live from the Emmanuel Sports Complex in the city of Ridley, California. Friday night kickoff scheduled for 7:30, pregame 6:45 p.m. again on the NFHS network. We'll have a link in the description of the coaches show and join us Friday night for kickoff for the first round of Division Four playoffs in the Central Section. Coach, any final words before we part ways?
No, excited to compete.
Excited to compete. It's going to be a fun game, and it's going to be a friendly rivalry, one we haven't seen here yet between two legendary coaches in their own rights. See you soon.